Welcome, viewers. Today we explore a dark story of betrayal, ancient prophecy, and pure power. Imagine losing your dignity, cast into a freezing, lightless pit to perish by your own flesh and blood. Now picture rising from that abyss to command the wealthiest, most formidable empire on earth. This is the true epic of Joseph, a slave who weaponized his tragic fate to rule all of Egypt. How did a condemned prisoner read the future and save millions from starvation? Let us find out. During the 17th century BC, the harsh plains of Canaan tested the resilience of wandering tribes. Here, the wealthy patriarch Jacob ruled his vast family with sheer authority and deep devotion. Yet this mighty leader harbored a dangerous weakness, favoring one son above all his older brothers. That chosen boy was Joseph, a proud 17-year-old youth, blissfully unaware of brewing hatred. Jacob gifted him a stunning, multicolored woven coat, a visible symbol of royal succession. Ancient texts reveal that this extravagant garment sparked a toxic wave of bitter jealousy and rage. The older brothers, hardened by the scorching desert sun, watched the pampered boy with growing resentment. They toiled endlessly in the harsh wilderness, while Joseph paraded his beautiful robe in the camp. But the fatal spark was ignited when Joseph boldly shared his vivid and highly prophetic dreams. He described a vision where they were all binding sheaves of grain out in the middle of a golden field. Suddenly, his sheaf stood upright, and the sheaves of his older brothers gathered around and bowed down to it. The sheer audacity of this claim horrified the rugged herdsmen, cementing their vengeful, dark intent. As if that were not enough, he proclaimed a second dream involving the celestial bodies above. He claimed the sun, the moon, and 11 shining stars had physically bowed down before his presence. Even his father rebuked him for such immense arrogance, but the dangerous seed was already sown. The older brothers whispered in the dark shadows of the tents, their hearts consumed by venomous envy. If you saw a vision of your own future greatness, would you hide it to keep the peace? Tell us below. The breaking point arrived when Jacob sent his favorite son to check on the brothers tending the flock. Wandering through the desolate valley of Dothan, Joseph approached them, wearing the hated, colorful coat. Spotting him from a distance, the furious herdsmen finally plotted to eliminate the dreamer. They conspired to vanquish him and cast his lifeless body into one of the deep, underground cisterns. Only the eldest brother, Reuben, secretly planned to rescue the boy, convincing them to avoid bloodshed. When Joseph arrived, greeting them with a naive smile, they violently ambushed him without hesitation. They brutally ripped the magnificent coat from his back, stripping away his dignity and royal favor. Deaf to his terrified cries, they dragged him across the dirt and hurled him into a deep, waterless pit. Trapped in the freezing darkness, Joseph looked up at the tiny circle of harsh daylight far above him. Above the pit, his brothers coldly sat down to eat their meal, completely ignoring his desperate pleas. A caravan of nomadic traders soon appeared, traveling south toward the wealthy Egyptian borders. Judah proposed a wicked idea. Why end our brother and hide his dark fate when we can sell him for cash? They ruthlessly hauled the weeping teenager out of the dirt and traded his freedom for silver coins. Bound tightly by rough hemp ropes, Joseph was dragged across the relentless desert sand toward the unknown. To deceive their poor grieving father, they dipped the magnificent coat in the crimson stains of a sacrificed goat. Jacob wept bitterly for days, completely shattered by the fake evidence of his favorite son's demise. Meanwhile, in the bustling markets of Egypt, Joseph was sold to Potiphar, a captain of the royal guard. Despite his terrible enslavement, Joseph worked with remarkable diligence and unmatched intelligence. Historical texts suggest he quickly rose through the ranks, eventually managing the vast estate. However, his handsome appearance caught the dangerous attention of Potiphar's lonely and wicked wife. She repeatedly demanded that the young servant sleep with her, but he firmly refused to betray his master. One fateful day, she aggressively grabbed his garment, forcing him to flee and leave his outer clothing behind. Humiliated by the rejection, she weaponized the abandoned cloth to falsely accuse him of assault. Without a fair trial, the furious captain threw the innocent Hebrew into the brutal royal dungeon. Once again, Joseph hit rock bottom, bound in heavy, rusted shackles inside a lightless, muddy prison cell. Days turned into agonizing years. He survived on meager scraps in the suffocating Egyptian darkness. Yet, even in the deepest misery, his unique gift for interpreting mysterious dreams began to shine. He successfully decoded the visions of the imprisoned chief cupbearer and the chief baker of the king. He accurately predicted the baker's tragic final downfall and the cupbearer's swift return to the palace. Joseph begged the fortunate cupbearer to remember his innocence and mention him to the great Pharaoh.
Let me see the light of day again.
But once restored to his powerful position, the cupbearer completely forgot the suffering slave below. 2 more grueling years passed in total isolation. Joseph remained a forgotten ghost in the royal jail. If you were abandoned in a dark dungeon for years, would you keep your faith or surrender to pure despair? Then, the wheel of destiny finally turned. The mighty Pharaoh himself faced a terrifying night. He dreamed of 7 incredibly fat cows rising from the Nile River, grazing peacefully in the green reeds. Suddenly, 7 horrifyingly thin and starved cows emerged from the water, devouring the healthy cattle. The king awoke in a cold sweat, only to fall asleep and suffer a second, equally disturbing vision. He saw 7 plump and healthy heads of grain growing rapidly on a single, very strong and vibrant stalk. Then, 7 withered heads of grain sprouted up and ruthlessly swallowed the beautiful flourishing ones. In the morning, the deeply troubled sovereign quickly summoned all the wise magicians of his vast empire. The bald priests, draped in leopard skins, consulted their ancient scrolls but stood utterly baffled by the omens. A dark panic spread through the golden halls. The most powerful man on earth was paralyzed by absolute fear. It was in this desperate hour that the guilty cupbearer finally remembered the brilliant Hebrew slave. Armed guards marched down to the muddy abyss, hauling Joseph out of the miserable, rat-infested pit. They quickly shaved his unkempt beard, washed away years of dark dungeon filth, and dressed him in clean white linen. The 30-year-old prisoner was escorted into the blinding light of the magnificent throne room. Towering stone pillars and golden statues surrounded him, contrasting sharply with his quiet, calm demeanor. Pharaoh leaned forward on his massive seat, his eyes heavy with dark eyeliner and terrible anxiety. He declared, "I have had a dream, and no one can interpret it. I hear that you hold the power to do so." Joseph stood tall, devoid of fear, and firmly replied, "I cannot do it, but God will give Pharaoh the true answer." The anxious sovereign recounted the bizarre images of the starving beasts consuming the healthy ones. A deep silence fell. Every noble and priest held their breath, awaiting the wise Hebrew's final judgment. Joseph spoke with chilling clarity. "The 2 dreams carry the exact same meaning. A divine warning has come. He explained that the 7 fat cows and plump grain represented 7 upcoming years of massive abundance. But the thin cows and scorched grain foretold a devastating 7-year famine that would entirely ravage the land. The coming drought would be so severe that all the previous prosperity would be entirely forgotten. Joseph did not just offer a dark prophecy. He delivered a brilliant and bold economic plan. He advised the king to appoint a discerning and wise man to aggressively manage the nation's harvest. During the prosperous years, royal officials must collect and store exactly 1/5 of all the crops produced. These massive reserves would become a vital lifeline, preventing the entire civilization from starving. The Egyptian court was utterly stunned by his strategic genius. Pharaoh looked at the former slave with deep awe. He turned to his silent advisors and asked, "Can we find anyone like this man, who holds the divine spirit?" In an unprecedented historical shift, the monarch stripped the golden signet ring from his own royal hand. He placed it on Joseph's finger, instantly transferring absolute control over the mighty empire. The new Grand Vizier was draped in fine, transparent linen garments and adorned with a heavy gold necklace. He was given the 2nd royal chariot, and heralds ran before him shouting, "Bow down to the master!" From a forgotten victim in a pit, Joseph had engineered his rise to the pinnacle of human power. Just as predicted, 7 years of overflowing harvests blessed the entire Egyptian civilization. Joseph tirelessly traveled the land, gathering immense quantities of grain into massive brick silos. The stored food became as immeasurable as the sand of the sea, securing the future of the great realm. Then the devastating drought struck, spreading its deadly grip far beyond the borders of the lush river delta. When the people cried out in terrible hunger, Pharaoh simply commanded them, "Go to Joseph and obey him." He opened the immense storehouses, selling vital food to both desperate locals and foreign travelers. Hundreds of miles away, the barren land of Canaan was completely crippled by the catastrophic famine. Hearing rumors of surplus grain in the south, Jacob ordered his starving sons to travel to the Egyptian court. 10 exhausted, dust-covered men arrived in the grand marble halls, seeking an audience with the governor. They bowed their faces to the ground before the powerful vizier, oblivious to his true identity. Looking down from his elevated throne of power, Joseph instantly recognized the brothers who betrayed him. He vividly remembered the ancient, prophetic dreams of his youth, watching his brothers bow like golden sheaves. Instead of quick revenge, the wise leader tested them, concealing his true Hebrew identity. He harshly accused the highly frightened men of being foreign spies sent to scout the exposed country. They trembled in absolute, deep fear, explaining their poor father and the tragic loss of their youngest brother. The powerful vizier turned away to secretly weep, overwhelmed by the heavy weight of the past. He demanded they bring their youngest brother, Benjamin, to prove their honesty and spare their lives. The brothers whispered in regret, believing this cruel suffering was punishment for Joseph's blood. When Benjamin was later framed, Judah bravely offered his own life to save the boy and his father. Seeing their genuine repentance, the supreme ruler could no longer contain his intense emotions. He ordered all the royal guards to leave the marble hall, standing completely alone with his family. Weeping so loudly the entire palace heard him, he finally spoke the shocking truth in their language. "I am your brother Joseph," he cried out to the terrified men. "Is my dear old father still alive?" The starving herdsmen were paralyzed by sheer terror, expecting immediate, final, and deadly judgment. But the merciful leader stepped closer, telling them not to be angry or afraid of their past sins. He delivered the legendary phrase, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for pure good." He commanded them to bring Jacob and settle in the rich land of Goshen to survive the harsh famine. The family found peace, but centuries later, their descendants faced brutal slavery and a burning bush. Joseph forgave the brothers who sold into slavery, turning his deep trauma into great salvation. Was his mercy a sign of divine wisdom or a clever political strategy? Tell us your thoughts below. If you truly enjoyed this dark epic, please like, share, and subscribe for more untold stories of the past.